A woman with a family connection to White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt has been arrested by immigration agents in Massachusetts. The woman is the mother of Leavitt's nephew, who is a Brazilian national. Her lawyer denies that she has a criminal record and insists she entered the country legally.
There are ICE raids around the country picking up illegal migrants and deporting them. Now, this is hitting quite close to home regarding White House spokesperson Karoline Leavitt, because there was news about an arrest of a kind of a relative to her. It is the former partner of Karoline Leavitt's brother, Michael. Her name is Bruna Ferreira. She was picked up by ICE and is now transported to a detention facility in Louisiana. The Ferreira entered the United States in 1998. She was supposed to leave 1999 on a tourist visa. Of course, she stayed. Then she has a child with Michael Leavit, the brother of Karoline Leavitt, and the child is now 11 years old. But obviously, the two were living separated. The boy was really living with his father all the time. Now this news from the arrest of her through ICE agent, which of course make it very personal for Karoline Leavitt, who of course has defended or defends every day the practices of Donald Trump to eliminating people. Also, it was reported that Ferreira had a criminal incident. She was accused of battery. That of course is also a red flag, and obviously has probably alerted ICE to her living here illegally in the United States. It is to be seen and to be expected that maybe Karoline Leavitt will shed more light into this incident.
Major breaking news. ICE has arrested a woman with family connections to White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, with DHS identifying the woman as a Brazilian national and, quote, criminal illegal alien. The woman in question is Bruna Caroline Ferreira, the mother of Karoline Leavitt's nephew. Now, it's unclear how close Ferreira and Leavitt were or if they've been recently in contact, but the whole episode just goes to show how expansive ICE's immigration enforcement activities have become. Following the passage of the Big Beautiful Bill that gave ICE an additional $90 billion in funding, up from $10 billion the year before, the agency has been able to go on a hiring spree and has expanded operations in a number of Democratic cities across the country. But I'll be following all the developments of ICE's growth and deployment, so make sure to follow for updates.
For all you Latinos who have been married into white families, it turns out that Karoline Leavitt's brother was in a relationship with a Brazilian woman and they had a son. This woman was a DACA recipient who now has set up a GoFundMe because she was detained by ICE and her family is trying to get her out. This is Karoline Leavitt's brother. And it's estimated Karoline Leavitt has 6 to 7 million, not to mention what her husband has and the access to the White House that she has. And her ex-sister-in-law has a GoFundMe. And this is Bruna with her son. I was married into a white family for about 9 years, and I do not put it past these two calling ICE on that woman. This is my opinion. But the brother is saying that his son has lived with him ever since he was born. He's remarried with some other woman and has another kid or something like that. And years ago, he had won some sort of lottery or something for $1 million, and he was still with his ex-partner, Bruna, the DACA recipient Brazilian woman. And Karoline Leavitt has refused to comment on the issue. Okay, this isn't all white families, so I don't want to paint a huge broad brush, but in my experience, if you do not marry into a white family that is progressive, there's going to be a lot of struggles. Microaggressions. Wow, your English is so good. Where did you learn? Where are you from? No, but really, where are you from? Where's the best Mexican food? Oh, you're a citizen? Oh, your parents are U.S. citizens? Your grandparents too? How? But you're so dark, I bet you don't get sunburned. Followed by questions that are asked to your partner. Does he have papers? He's not one of those illegals, right? And the biggest one I would always get was, you don't act like all the other Mexicans we know. When I would go to family gatherings, my ex would text me, can you lower your voice? Can you tone it down a little? You're not used to all of that. So this woman, this racist bigot right here, And I don't just say that just because. I mean, roll the tape.
How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as...
Yeah, nothing would surprise me with KKK Leavitt.
This is crazy. We just learned that ICE has arrested a member of Karoline Leavitt's family and she might be deported to Brazil. Trump's awful immigration policy is now impacting a member of his team personally. Her 11-year-old nephew's mother, Bruna Ferreira, is now in custody at an ICE facility in Louisiana facing deportation to Brazil. Ferreira is the former fiance of Michael Leavitt, the press secretary's New Hampshire-based brother. They had a son whom they raised together before they split. A source familiar with the matter said the individual is the mother of Caroline's nephew. They have not spoken in many years. The child has lived full-time in New Hampshire with his father since he was born. He has never resided with his mother, which is not true because a 2014 article in The Family showed that the couple was living together with their son. The family was also photographed together. Then Trump's administration tried to claim that Ferreira had a previous arrest for battery, but WBUR could not find any details of battery charges against Ferreira in Massachusetts, and they have not responded to requests for comment. A GoFundMe has been set up for her by her sister. It's now raised $14,000 of its $30,000 target, but I'm sure with all of this coverage, it will surpass that. I don't know how you can be Karoline Leavitt and defend the mother of your brother's son getting deported, but I'm sure that she will defend it.
Karoline Leavitt's sister-in-law was just arrested by ICE for overstaying her visa by 26 years, leaving Karoline Leavitt's 11-year-old nephew without his mom. The Trump administration has stated that Karoline Leavitt had no involvement whatsoever in this matter, but I find that incredibly hard to believe. You're telling me one of her family members has been in the country illegally for 26 years and she never once heard about it? I don't think so. She has no criminal record and was in the process of obtaining residency after her DACA status was revoked by the Trump administration. Now she is currently being held in southern Louisiana, where she awaits deportation proceedings to Brazil, despite the fact that she's been in the U.S. since she was a child. Another family member released a statement saying Bruna's absence has been especially painful for her 11-year-old son, who needs his mother and hopes every single day that she'll be home in time for the holidays.
Karoline Leavitt almost certainly is the one behind getting her nephew's mother deported. Now, I don't do conspiracy theories or tinfoil hats, but the story keeps changing, so I'm a little suspicious. Bruna Ferreira was once engaged to Karoline Leavitt's brother about 12 years ago. They share a son. Now, Bruna was picked up on November 12th on her way to pick up said son from school, which is a little strange considering the family initially said that the child never lived with Bruna Ferreira and doesn't really see him all that often, when in fact there's a shared custody agreement and photographic evidence showing Karoline's brother, Bruna, and their child living together after the child was born. So that is immediately debunked. They're also saying she has assault charges against her, which nobody in the entire state of Massachusetts can find. Even local news stations can't seem to find these charges. And one would think that Karoline Leavitt, having such close proximity to power, I mean, she's the press secretary at the White House, would be able to do something so that her nephew could have a relationship with his mother. But she hasn't done a gosh darn thing. In fact, she's done the opposite. She's done absolutely nothing. Which leads me to believe that perhaps Karoline and her family want Bruna back in Brazil, and it looks quite likely that Miss Ferreira will be deported back to Brazil, even though, again, nobody can find those assault charges they're using as grounds to deport her. Now, I just think that they want her out of the way, but what else can you expect from a woman who got the name Caroline back in high school? This is why nobody in New England likes New Hampshire.
Y'all, this is the most ironic Trump administration story ever. So White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, her nephew's mother was just detained by ICE and is now facing deportation to Brazil. Here is a photo of Karoline Leavitt and her brother. The woman in question shares a child with this man right here. They're no longer together, but they have an 11-year-old son. And she was on her way to go pick up their son from school when her car got swarmed by ICE agents in Boston. Here is a photo of the woman Bruna and Karoline's brother together. According to reports, this actually happened a few weeks ago. Apparently, Bruna legally came into the U.S. under DACA. Again, her and Caroline's brother are not together anymore, but when speaking to the press, he didn't want to speak too much, but he did say his biggest concern right now is for his child's safety. I cannot wait to see how the Wicked Witch of the White House right here spins this story and how she speaks about it on the podium today. Let us see. But what do y'all think? There's already like conspiracies flying around about like Caroline having her detained and all of this. I don't know. Those are all just rumors, but definitely interesting.
White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt has a family member that's been detained by immigration officials and is awaiting deportation at a Louisiana detention facility. Now, the woman in question came to the United States in 1998 as a child with her parents, and they overstayed their tourist visa, which allows her to be eligible for DACA, and she has maintained all DACA requirements. And Bruna Ferreira went on to become engaged to Karoline Leavitt's brother, and they had a son together who is now 11 years old. And she was traveling for visitation to pick up her son when she was detained by immigration officials and removed to Louisiana. And here's where the story gets a little twisted, because the White House and individuals related to the Leavitt family have said the son has lived with his father since he was a newborn, implying that he doesn't need his mother. But Michael Leavitt, Caroline's brother, just got remarried in October, and by all indications, the new wife does not like his former fiance. So it looks like this potentially could have been an inside job because, according to ICE, they had a report that Bruna Ferreira, the son's mother, was a criminal and that she had domestic violence and battery charges against her. But there is zero indication anywhere in this country that that's actually true, according to her lawyers and other family members who said she absolutely adored and loved her son and would do anything for him, and that she was not a violent person. So for me, this looks like the white Christian woman who married Michael Leavitt didn't like his former fiance from Brazil and did everything in her power to make sure that she could utilize Karoline Leavitt's position to make sure she could get what she saw as competition out of the way.
So you mean to tell me Karoline Leavitt's family member was arrested by ICE after living in the country illegally for decades? Really? You mean to tell me this is Karoline Leavitt's brother has a child. That child's mother has just been arrested by ICE after living in the country illegally for decades. This isn't just some random person. This is Karoline Leavitt's nephew's mother. It's a very close relationship right there. What happened? You see, Trump's policies hit everybody. Doesn't matter who you are, it will hit everybody. So Caroline, think next time before you push out his rhetoric to the world and your huge support behind ICE. Because now it's turning around on you, hitting your family.
Well, isn't it ironic, Caroline? The White House press secretary who goes on TV every day to defend mass raids, family separation, and Trump, no exceptions, deportation agenda. She just had her own family member detained by ICE and facing deportation. You can't make this up, can you? Well, let me break this down a little bit. Her nephew's mother, someone directly tied to Karoline Leavitt's family, was detained by ICE in Massachusetts and immediately transferred to a Louisiana processing center. ICE says she overstayed a visa from the 90s. Her lawyer says she has no criminal record, and DHS, of course, claims she does. So already we're seeing contradictions, which is hilariously on brand with this administration, isn't it? But here's the part. that is important. This is exactly the system Caroline defends every single day on camera with a smile. She stands behind Trump's orders to target long-settled immigrants. She defends breaking up families. She mocks humanitarian arguments. She repeats the talking points about criminal illegals, while the very same system she praises just swept up a member of her own family. Well, and suddenly, guess what? Her family is fundraising for legal help. The same legal help Caroline wants to deny to everyone else. Isn't this funny? If your own family can get caught up in the machine you work for, maybe, just maybe, the machine is the problem. But let's not hope that Caroline will realize that, okay? The cruelty of these policies always feels justified right up until the moment it lands on your own doorstep. It's always easy to cheer for mass deportations when you assume it will only happen to other people. But here we are. The irony writes itself. Caroline.
So the White House press secretary's kind of sister-in-law, ex-sister-in-law, detained by ICE and is now in Louisiana. She's being called a criminal illegal alien from Brazil, and she overstayed her tourist visa from 1999. 1999? She shares an 11-year-old son with Leavitt's older brother, Michael. Caroline has no comment, but a source says that the women have not spoken in many years, and that her nephew lives full-time with her father since he was born, never even living with his mom. Ferreira, the child's mother, came to the U.S. with her family as a child and was once arrested on suspicion of battery, but no records of that arrest can be found anywhere. But her visa expired on June 6, 1999, and she now is a full grown-ass adult. The other side says that she's actually in the process of getting her green card and was abruptly detained and sent to Louisiana. Her attorney says that she has maintained her legal status through DACA, followed every requirement, and has always strived to do the right thing. Another day, another drama. Another day, another saga. Let's see what comes of this one.
People are all up in arms talking about Karoline Leavitt's family has been affected by ICE raids and that she has a nephew whose mother has been living here on an expired visa for over 20-something years, and that Karoline Leavitt is now at the brink of ICE's control, and this is damaging her family. I don't buy it one bit. I don't think she gives two shits. It sounds to me that the brother and the woman that he had a child with aren't together, that they don't live together. So I could probably see Karoline Leavitt looking at this like the perfect situation for her family. Well, if I don't know if the child's still under 18 or not, but that means if she gets deported, who gets custody? The dad. That means what child support, if he's paying that stops. If there's a win-win for it in them, she's not going to be boo-hooing. And at the end of the day, they're all the same. They could have family members and people they care about and love and not care or give two shits about how Trump's policies and how he's running this government affects them. You remember when SNAP benefits and EBT got cut off and people, yeah, cut them off. A lot of these same people probably had people that they say they love, people that they say are family members, but they didn't care because it didn't affect them. That's how people are behind closed doors, and that's how they are behind the scenes. So no, I don't think Karoline Leavitt is really affected one bit. If anything, it's probably a positive thing for her and her family. I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't end up on somebody's list. So that's my take on that. But yeah, it does affect everyone, huh?
This has got to be one of the most ironic things you'll ever hear. You know Karoline Leavitt, who constantly defends Trump's inhumane ICE actions, right? Well, these are her brothers, and one of them has a kid. And this is the mother of that kid. Her name is Bruna Ferreira, and ICE just arrested her for overstaying a visa from 26 years ago. But Leavitt cares more about pleasing a convicted felon than helping her own family.
Like how CNN is like, ooh, woman with family ties to White House press secretary is arrested by ICE. You're like, Karoline Leavitt's nephew's mom was arrested by ICE for overstaying her visa by 26 years. So, Miss Leavitt, are you harboring illegals? How long did you know? Do you feel like a hypocrite right now because you were telling folks to be deported left and right? Meanwhile, you're essentially your sister-in-law. I don't know if they were married, but, close to that. Has been here for, going on 3 decades almost. And yet you've just been silent about the whole thing. Interesting.
This has got to be one of the most ironic things you'll ever hear. You know Karoline Leavitt, who constantly defends Trump's inhumane ICE actions, right? Well, these are her brothers, and one of them has a kid. And this is the mother of that kid. Her name is Bruna Ferreira, and ICE just arrested her for overstaying a visa from 26 years ago. But Leavitt cares more about pleasing a convicted felon than helping her own family.